The first half of Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk brought to you by bcsoccer.net. We'll hear from Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson after he spoke with the media today after Vancouver's 2-1 loss to the Colorado Rapids, plus a full wrap report of the match. On weekends, Kia Vancouver is giving away Vancouver soccer match tickets with your purchase. Plus, you're entered to win a pair of season tickets, all by going into Kia Vancouver. Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. We, of course, stopped off at Modern Burger, filled up on the 3 burgers, 3 milkshakes, plate of fries. We're all set, ready to go now, drinking some happy water for the starting 11 with myself, Tyler Green, on Twitter at TylerGreenFC, and contributor Simon Fudge, Simon Fudge 74. And we start with number 1, Simon. After a 1-1 draw against Bayern Munich in Champions League, does Manchester United have a chance?
They have no chance, Tyler. Bayern Munich will go home with that away goal advantage that they have, and they will see themselves through. It was a tough game at Old Trafford, always is in Europe, but Munich, for me, even though they won't have Schweinsteiger because he'll be suspended, they will find a way to win this and reach the semifinals.
You always have a chance to win, Simon, and Moyes played Bayern perfectly. Can he do it again? I think he might be able to. You know, this team is starting to get some confidence. They're starting to get some belief, and I think they can do the unspeakable and knock off Bayern Munich.
Number 2, which 4 teams make it through to the semifinals of the UEFA Champions League?
Well, since I said that I think that Manchester United can actually go on and beat Bayern Munich, I have to say that again now, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yes, Manchester United is going to be one of those teams. Then I'm taking the easy way and going Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain as obvious choices. Then I'm going to throw in Atletico Madrid in there. And I just have that feeling that somehow, somewhere, they're going to be able to pull one out, and they'll be the 4th team going through.
Well, I've taken Bayern Munich, so they're going to be through for me. But the other 3, I would have to say are for me to agree with. Both Madrid clubs, Atletico and Real, and Paris Saint-Germain. Atletico think they're in a really good spot going home, and I think they're going to find their way through. It'll surprise some because they are going to take out Barcelona as a result, but they'll go through. The team to watch out for is Real Madrid for me. I think they're playing really well in the Champions League right now.
Number 3, what does Liverpool need to do, Simon, to win the Premier League title?
Well, it starts tomorrow by beating West Ham. But winning, really. 6 games to go. The key ones will be the home game against Manchester City and Chelsea at Anfield this month. They win both of those games. I really feel that at least one hand is on the EPL title for them.
Yeah, you're right. It's simple. It's win, and that's it's as simple as that. 3 letters: win. Go out, win each match they have remaining, and they win the title. It's as simple as that. That's what they can do. I think they can do it. Not being a Liverpool fan, it hurts sometimes to say that. I got a lot of buddies who are Liverpool fans who are, I'm never going to hear the end of it because it hasn't happened in a while and they're going to be bragging forever. But yeah, it's simple as winning. And I think that Liverpool has what it takes to go and get it done.
Number 4, should Chelsea get rid of Peter Cech after this season and make Thibaut Courtois their number 1 goalkeeper next year?
I think yes. You've got to make the change at some point. If you don't make the change, you keep playing him elsewhere, eventually he's just not going to even want to come back to the club, and that's what football has come down to, that really the players have a lot of control right now. So I think that at this point, why not make the change next season? I think that Courtois can, he's shown that he can play at a good level at Atletico Madrid. He's one of the best young keepers in the world. You look at Neuer at Bayern Munich. They've taken him. They've thrown him out there. He's already got the Champions League title under his belt now. I think you do the same. You get rid of Peter Cech. You make the move. you make him your number one goalkeeper next year.
I think Peter Cech still has a few good seasons left in him. He's only 31 years of age, so even for me, I think he's still got a bit of time, even as an international for the Czech Republic. He'll be 32 even next month. So to get rid of that experience, especially at the back, would be a little bit hasty for a team that does need to make changes, but they need to be made more elsewhere. Most of the talk after the defeat in Champions League this week was about the need for Chelsea to get strikers, so I really think that's where their priority is. Courtois, as you say, very promising, but I think he's a little underripe. He's only 21 years of age, and I would think maybe needs another season on loan.
And just a rebuttal to that, you get rid of Cech, you got a lot more money to spend on a forward that can actually score that's not named Torres. Number 5 on the starting 11. Real Madrid fans booed Cristiano Ronaldo last weekend. Will Ronaldo now shock everyone and leave Madrid for another team?
No, I don't think so. Especially when this team, for me, Los Merengues, is going to probably lift the UEFA Champions League title next month. They're playing, I think, the best soccer in that competition right now. They have been absolutely devastating. Whether they win La Liga or not is going to be more of a question, but with him hoisting the European Cup in his own hands in front of all of those fans, he'll be staying.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you. I think he'll stay at Madrid. He wants to prove something. I think he's going to stay there. It's as simple as that. There's going to be some people that are going to throw some money at him, try to get that transfer, what have you, but I think he's going to stay.
Number 6, 7 more players from football league clubs based in the northwest of England have been arrested in connection with alleged spot fixing, and another 6 rearrested over similar claims. Will match fixing ever be erased from the soccer?
You know what? It's a simple answer. It's no. You're never going to be able to get rid of it. It's too big. It's too worldwide. And you'd even look at it as it's been around since the beginning of sports have happened. Whether that's in early days of the Olympics in Greece to now, it's always happened. It's never going to be gone entirely, and that's very unfortunate, but it's sticking around.
Sadly, no. I agree with you, Tyler. There's just too much money out there to be made off of the game. It's been seen through legalized betting, and I think in this case it's going to be the same. The other thing as well, soccer authorities, for me, have been so asleep at the switch on the whole match fixing in terms of dealing with it as a serious issue. They're just even in the process of trying to catch up and stem the problem, but it's way too advanced now, and I don't think they'll ever get it under control.
Number 7 on the starting 11, soccer great Pele says, quote, "They don't care about the beautiful game. They don't care about the elegance of football. In my time, we used to think and give a little show," unquote. The message from managers now is not to win, but rather, quote, "don't lose." And that mentality has led to a less entertaining game. Is Pele right?
No, he is not. The teams that have the confidence to attack and score goals do their very best to go and show that. We've seen it from Manchester City and Liverpool in England this season, Barcelona, both Madrid clubs, and even Bayern Munich. Those teams that know that they can go and attack, go and win, go and score goals, they go and do it. They have been entertaining, and that's not going to change.
You know what? I think there are a lot of coaches out there right now that do play not to lose. I think Pele is right to an extent. I look at it, and a lot of coaches, they set up to make sure that they get a result. Look at Major League Soccer. A lot of teams go out on the road. They talk about how difficult it is to play on the road. So they go and they play ugly. They make sure they can try to get at least a point on the road rather than make sure that they can go and win on the road. And I'm going to go with Pele on this and agree with him. How can you disagree with the greatest player to ever play the game?
Well, I think in this case he's just a little bit off the mark, I think, for me. Anyway, number 8. Canada's men's national team will play a friendly against Bulgaria in May in Austria. With the match right in the middle of the MLS season, should head coach Benito Floro only select European-based players?
Well, I think it's going to be very Euro-biased, but I think Floro really needs to make sure that he filters some youth into that system. I think he needs to make sure it's the guys that are going to be in the next stage of the World Cup qualifying. it's those players that are going to be key, and those are the players that I think he needs to pick regardless of where they play, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in North America. He needs to play and get the players and pick the players who are going to be in those in that majority of games moving forward. Get them playing together, get them to know one another.
That's what I think his thinking should be as well. And whatever that MLS contingent is, large or small, they should be part of this May friendly. They just don't get together enough as a squad. And for me, Flora needs to use this Bulgaria friendly as an opportunity to get, again, all of those, as you say, all those key players together, even if it is a bit of a trip for the North American-based players to have to go to Austria to do so.
Number 9, David Beckham says the MLS salary cap needs to go. Simon, should it stay or should it go?
I think it should stay, or it should stay. There's still a concern in MLS over the overall profitability of the league and its clubs. I go back to the State of the League address right at the end of last season, where Doug Arbour stated as much as that profitability is still a big concern for everyone. So I think in a lot of ways, capping and keeping a tight rein on expenses is important.
Yeah, I think it needs to stay. I like the incremental increases that the salary cap has had in the league thus far. But this league, really, when you think about it, it's still in its infancy. Yeah, the league started way back in the 90s, but there are a lot of new teams. There's been some changes in those teams. And until they start filling all the stadiums, until they have a really solid television deal, both nationally and locally, and there's advertising on every single team's jersey, and every team has a jersey sponsor, because that's not the case just yet. They all have radio deals, local radio deals. I think that once those things are in place, then yeah, it is time for the salary cap to disappear. But right now, I think it's very important that they keep that salary cap in check, to keep some of those teams in check, and keep increasing it incrementally until it doesn't even matter what the cap is anymore.
Number 10, Darren Mattocks scored his first goal for the Whitecaps this afternoon. Will the floodgates open for him goal-scoring wise?
No, we've heard it before that as soon as Darren Mattocks scores, the floodgates are going to open and he's going to score a boatload of goals, and it's just never happened. The floodgates are not going to open for Darren Mattocks. I think he's going to continue to work hard. I think he's going to continue to get his chances. I think he's even going to get some goals. But Darren Mattocks is not all of a sudden going to be a 25 goal scorer. The floodgates are not going to open for Darren Mattocks. He's going to contribute, but he's not going to be at the very top anytime soon.
I think the floodgates could open for Darren Mattocks. I've been really impressed by how hard he's worked this season, and now that he has scored, he's got more confidence in him, and with that level of determination I think I've seen from him through the first sort of 5 games of this season, I think those goals could, to your surprise and many people's surprise, come in abundance.
Vancouver Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson spoke to the media post-match, talking about whether or not he was disappointed with the Vancouver Whitecaps loss. This is what head coach Carl Robinson had to say post-game.
At the end of the day, I'm not disappointed. I'm miffed, I think is the exact word I'll use. But it's our first loss in 5 games. So, we'll regroup. We'll have the day off tomorrow and we'll come back into work Monday because we've got a massive game against LA next week.
So the question on the starting 11 for number 11, should Carl Robinson be disappointed with the loss tonight?
Yes, I think he should be from the fact that they just didn't get anything from the game, a point or even 3. The chances they created and the performance that the team put in for a large part of the game up until probably the turning point late on with the red card to Matthias Laba, they deserved better from the game this afternoon. And yeah, I think in some ways, based on that and based on the fact they got nothing out of the game points-wise, he should be disappointed.
Yeah, I would agree. You should always be disappointed when you lose, regardless of the result or how it happened. I think you should be mad. You should be pissed off. You should be disappointed every time your team loses. And you should want to win every single game and disappointed when you haven't won. Now, granted, you can't come out and be angry about losing every single game because you are going to lose games. But I think you have to be disappointed at some point for every single game. that you've lost. That does it for the starting 11 tonight here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk with myself and Simon Fudge. We'll debate more issues next week. Same time on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk here on AM 650 Radio. We'll get into more discussion of some of those topics in the second half of the program as well. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Vancouver Whitecaps. They were 2-1 losers against the Rapids. We're going to hear more from head coach Carl Robinson, as well as some other players that contributed tonight from both sides of the field, the Caps and the Rapids. That's coming up right after the break here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650 Radio.